My name's Gavin Judd and I'm National Sales Manager at Source Insurance. Well, I think it's been an interesting year in terms of the sort of challenges that brokers have faced. We, as well as our competitors, are trying to launch new ways to help advisors, to help the big national partners and your one-man bands to write general insurance easier. Because of the way that the market is generally, not just in insurance, the mortgage market, the struggles that clients face, the struggles that advisors are facing within their businesses, it naturally puts creates more barriers for advisors. So it's our job as providers, as technology providers, to create solutions that make it easier, to make our service easier to use, and just try and make it as simple as possible for advisors to write as much general insurance as possible. Well, obviously the consumer duty deadline has just sort of been and passed. We've seen various reactions to that in the market. Obviously, some businesses were much better prepared than others. Some are reacting and changing things now, whereas opposed to we did see a lot of businesses being better prepared and changing things in the earlier part of the year. So later on this year, I think we will see some firms, specifically within general insurance, looking to change their processes now that they've got their mortgages and protection in line and they know what they're doing with those products in regards to consumer duty. I think the general insurance and just the processes around that, whether or not they're going to start referring, whether or not they're going to start writing more, dedicating someone within their business to start writing more, those sorts of things could happen. In terms of the housing market, I'm not sure how much we're going to see like drastic change towards the end of this year, really. Seems like it's going to be sort of bumbling along the way it has been. We might see some more interest rate changes, and that might affect marginally in our area, I would imagine, but I can't imagine it would be a huge change. I think the next few months will be busier than obviously the summer months, and then naturally towards December, people will be thinking about next year. Well, ultimately, when less houses are being sold, there's less opportunities for advisors to write general insurance. That's not how necessarily we might see it as a technology business that's specifically stationed in the general insurance market. But the reality is, if advisors aren't having those conversations with clients about buying new homes, then that they're going to see those opportunities as dwindling. We'd like to flip that and say, well, if you're not speaking to your clients necessarily about your more traditional products, whether it be mortgages, pensions, investments, there should still be the opportunity to check in with your previous general insurance customers and have a conversation about where their situation is now, and use that as another opportunity to to discuss other things as well. Ultimately, I think when that housing market has it is in the situation it's in at the moment, and you add into that the sort of economic climate for clients, any extra products that an advisor has to discuss, you can see the burden that would have on an advisor when they have to sort of have these conversations. We just, again, to hark back to what I said, we have to make it easy, make sure that things are competitive, make sure that it's simple to use, make sure that the client journey is simple, so that if they are going to consider writing a little bit more or changing their process and bringing general insurance more to the forefront within their business, that that it's easy to do that and it's nice and easy to implement. Well, I think there's different, perspectives. We obviously within our business, it was our job to ensure that we provide accurate support for advisors, so that if they want to learn about it specifically in regards to general insurance and how that affects them, that we have the supporting material. Obviously within Learning Lab, our industry-leading sort of support centre on our website, you can get access to that sort of information, or you can speak to us if you want to find out about how consumer duty affects general insurance specifically. But yeah, in terms of advisors, in terms of your big national businesses, as I said earlier, there are effectively people that have been better prepared, and then there's people that are reacting, if you like, and changing their processes after the event. Ultimately, it's all good. We think since that deadline has taken place, we've seen more inquiries, we're having more conversations with people about what does it mean for our business? How can we ensure that we're getting the right client outcomes by ensuring we have the right conversations, providing more quotes than we would have before, those sorts of things, because as much as it's something that you have to implement that's work, it's extra things to worry about if you own your own business. it ultimately is the right thing by the client. And I think in the industry we'll reap the rewards of that, even if it isn't initially, it might be after the first sort of 3, 6, 12 months. We work with a broad spectrum of advisors. So anything from an insurance broker specifically, which obviously would be trying to write as much insurance as they can, to your IFA, to your mortgage broker, all having different sort of outlooks on where things come in. If you look at the bulk of the mortgage market, I think you're hearing a lot that premiums are rising. We're doing what we can to battle against that, make sure that we're as competitive as possible in every way that we can, and that includes launching new propositions that are specifically aimed at being competitive in terms of premium. I think for an insurance broker specifically, we've seen over the last few years some of the leading insurers sort of leave the market, which again puts more pressure on advisors to have access to the products, and puts more pressure on the rest of the insurers in the market. So it's a bit of a melting pot really, with the economic climate, with the housing market. It comes back to ultimately how can we make it as simple as possible for advisors to be able to engage with general insurance, and how can we make it as easy and as competitively priced for clients. If you are going to get the opportunity to engage with an advisor with an online system about general insurance, it needs to be simple, and I think we're working towards those solutions. This could be the best question of the lot, really. I mean, obviously, if we have all the answers to this, we should just set up our own insurance businesses, our own advised businesses. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think consistency. I've worked as Source have with lots of different advice businesses over the years. What you see is market fluctuation, market changes, then changes behaviour of advisors, and then they'll have a great 3 to 6 months on one thing, and then it will tail off. Whereas an organised business that works with processes, that has a model that offers consistency, so that the client is getting, or the clients are getting access to a mortgage product, a life insurance quote, or a protection recommendation, a general insurance recommendation every time. It's not some get some get the other. It links back to that regulatory sort of implementation. If you are having all of those conversations, making sure that you leave no stone unturned with every client, then ultimately your business is going to flourish, because they're getting the right outcomes, as well as you ultimately writing more business overall as a result. I think we're seeing social media come into it more now. I think people, clients are more happy to engage online with financial products than ever before. So I think, as a business, if you want to be moving towards the future, it might be that you need to look at implementing an online solution for your clients. If you don't have time to write general insurance or speak to them, recommend general insurance yourself, then why not have something on your website that allows a client to go online and learn about general insurance? But secondly, maybe even take out their own policy, like what we've done with Source Go, white labeling, those sorts of things, so that you have those online solutions. You're all encompassing within your business then. If you don't have the time to necessarily recommend every product for every client, or you don't feel like you have the expertise, you still have the solution available. Well, I think now more than ever, clients need advice. We've seen the rise of aggregator businesses, your comparison websites, for want of a better phrase, and they offer the ability for a client to go online and really easily get a quote for the majority of any product that they might need. As a client, if you're not educated in financial products, which most people aren't, let's be honest, you might believe that you can get access to the right products on those websites and cover yourself the way you need. When I said earlier, I think now more than ever people need more advice. The way that the economic climate is, the way that things fluctuate so often, how many different products and how many different options there are out there nowadays. If you consider that people are under more financial pressure than ever, and if they go to a comparison website and take out a product that they believe is going to cover them for when something goes wrong, and they haven't actually taken a home emergency or an accidental damage or those sorts of ancillary different sort of add-ons, you can see where the need for advice comes in there. Now, we believe you should have access to both options. We think you should have a nice simple option so a client can execution only, self-serve if they want, and we believe that you should have a full fat advice solution, and that's why we provide both. Ultimately, if clients are missing the opportunity to take out the full cover and make sure that they are protected against the sort of risks that can come up, advice is the best option, and that's why we have to make sure that our solutions and our systems satisfy that wherever possible.